So what if we want to manipulate this number a bit? Let's turn that one off and copy that one in there. Okay, so instead of just getting a random number every half second, what if we want to kind of manipulate the probabilities of those numbers? So let's put down a signal manipulator and wire that in. And then if you go to custom remapper, you can click on remap curve. So if there's no shaping, it will just be, oh, one moment, you got to plug it into there. So if you look at the remap curve, by default there's no shaping, so it will just be purely random. But if you go to ease in, now it's got this curve to it, so it will be more likely to get these numbers and less likely to get these numbers. But it could be a bit difficult to see exactly how effective this is in this case, but there's a easier way in a moment I'll look at. But there's these other shaping remap curves as well. Ease out, so now there'll be more of this number. Ease in and ease out, and those are the only really useful ones in here. So we'll just leave that on the ease in. So another way is to use a timeline. So let's use a timeline. So this is sending values between 0 and 1. So we can use that to set that. I'll just copy that out there and turn that one off. So if you look at it now, those values are setting the timeline to different points on the setting the playhead to different points on the timeline. So we can use that to mess with the value. So we've got this timeline and we've got that setting it to different points. Now to actually get a value out of that, let's go like that, smooth these over, and I'll just plug it in there. So we're going to set the value of the value slider with keyframes. So I'll put a keyframe there, set that to 0, make a copy and set it to 1, and then use the tweening and just go like that, and I'll use L1 and right to kind of expand this. And now it still gives us the exact same value. Let's just print the base value and the change value. So it's exactly the same at the minute, but you can change it to ease in as we did with the signal manipulator, but then you can adjust the strength. So if I go like that, most of the time it will be 0 or close to it. It'll be this this bottom number is what we're looking at. Let's just turn that one off. So it's fairly close to 0 most of the time because it's around here. And then on the second half it kind of ramps up a little bit. And you can use ease out or ease in and out and do whatever you like. So now it's kind of mostly 1 and 0 and then some intermediate values in the middle. You can even just do that. If I record into that 0.9 and then blend that and blend that, now on this area it will go 0 to 9. Oh, we should do that, shouldn't we? So now only in this area it will go 0 to 9, and then from there to there it will be above 9. So you can manipulate the kind of the curve of what the random values you're getting will be, however you like. Another thing you can use that same technique for is not just to manipulate the value, but to plug that in there, to kind of give weighted probabilities. So you know down here you have these all have a roughly even chance of being selected. What if we want one thing to happen for most of the time, and then some other things to happen rarely? So let's just wire some stuff up. So let's make a value slider, and we'll let it go up to that'll do, and use a keyframe to set that to 0. Use another keyframe to set that to 1, like that. Another keyframe to set it to 2. Cool. Now we can scale these up and drag out the sides. So we're going to make this one really rare. So we'll put that over there. So it has to, the value has to be within this range for that to happen. And for this one, the value has to be within that range for that keyframe to happen. And then for this one, it has to be within any of that range for it to happen. So let's have a look now. So it's kind of mostly choosing this area and then sometimes that area and that area. If we look at the values, so it's mostly 0 and then sometimes 1 or 2. So we can let's make that do something. So if we use a selector with that value, we can also plug that into the active port. So now if we send that as 0, it will be A. If we send it a 1, it will be B. 2, it will be C. So we want those 3 channels. And then it will activate different things. For this example, we're just going to activate different text boxes. Okay, so now get a rare now and then, mostly common, some uncommons. So you can use this to kind of loot drop rare items, only very rarely. I'd like to thank Shadow of Callus, Rev Player, Kolbitzer, and all my other supporters for making this tutorial possible. If you'd like me to keep making these tutorials and helping creators across the internet, you can find out how to support me in the link in the description. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.